Welcome everybody to Git Bit, the podcast for blurs, by blurs, for everybody to enjoy. I'm your host and most Will Buchanan, and on this we do cover video games, we do cover anime, comic books, superhero television movies, pretty much everything pop culture, just from a blurred person point of view. Before I do get started, like I said, we do try to make this family friendly as far as showing this. However, some of the trailers and things that we may show may not always be suitable for young viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. We've come to our last podcast of the year for 2020. Man, 2020 has been kind of rough. Needless to say the rest. We've had some wonderful surprises in the world of video games, especially with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, and a multitude of other games that have came out that have all made us smile and really enjoy gaming. We've also had some disappointments, even more so than recently. But like all things in the world, we're just going to go ahead and get to it with the news that we do have. So, with that being said, I did want to talk about the new DLC for Gears 5 called Hivebusters. Again, I was like anybody else out there, I am a Gears fan. I have loved Gears of War 1 through 3. I have loved Judgment, although I think Judgment was really more along the lines of a DLC than a game. But hey, still loved it for the story. I even loved Gears 4. I even loved Gears 5. But the one thing that has always plagued me about Gears 5 was the fact of Gears 5 had such a short story that I wanted more. Multiplayer maps and other things that you can add on for DLCs, okay, cool. But for me, what pulls me into Gears of War has always been the story. I know the saga of Marcus Phoenix was great through stories 1 through 3. And of course, it following his son JD in the Gears series with Gears 4 and Gears 5. And spoiler alert, depending on your selection in Gears 5, you may have lost JD, you may have lost JD's friend, depending on what you selected. I thought that was a different twist in Gears 5 to change the dynamic. But again, I loved it. But Gears 5 was just, story-wise, was so short. And I kept saying this entire time because I was one of those ones, like I said, lifelong Gears 5 fan, that I wanted to sit there and I wanted some story. I wanted some continuation. You just can't leave me hanging knowing the simple fact of the matter is that, yes, the heroine of the story is connected to the Hive Queen that we took care of in 3. Well, apparently the coalition must have heard a lot of us saying that we actually want more DLC and less multiplayer like Call of Duty, because they actually came out not too long ago with the trailer for Hivebusters. Check this out.
Right. Sorry to be late and all. We survived a horrific condor crash. Fought an endless horde of monsters from hell. And barely escaped with a life. But how's your day been?
Well, it's about goddamn time. Look, I know your past. That you've all suffered and struggled, but you've still got that fight in you. That's why you're here. Best of the best.
Whatever the mission, sir, we're in.
What?
It's a high-risk mission. But if we get this right, we can wipe out those bastards, save the entire goddamn planet.
Get behind me!
I'll handle this! See you on the other side.
What the hell is that?
And all I can say right now, thank you, Coalition. Thank you, Xbox Game Studios, for finally giving us a DLC to an existing. Like I said, I love Gears 5. I still go back and play it. I actually still go back and play Gears 4, really. just because of how great it is. Now, for Hivebusters, I just downloaded that to my Xbox. I plan to be playing that a little bit later on tonight. And like I said before, we'll give my point of view of that in our next podcast next year. But again, Hivebusters DLC just looks like it's going to be great, especially with going off with a different squad, different story. And from what I've been told, it's a six-chapter DLC. So again, there's gonna be plenty of gameplay. There's gonna be plenty of shooting. And if you're a Gears of War fan, there's gonna be chain lancers and chainsaws. What more can you ask for? Aside from that, guys, you've probably also heard me going. Like I said, speaking of the reviews I just talked about, let me give my quick review of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I am so glad. I mean, the thing about Valhalla, guys, the thing that bugged me so much was the crashes. I actually got Valhalla as a digital download on PS4, and really into the beginning of it, it did crash a lot. Actually, for my first time through my campaign, I think the game may have crashed at least 20 times. And is it infuriating? Yes. But if you're like me and you're stubborn and you want to see it to the end, I kept with it. I mean, I did try to uninstall it and reinstall it. I was really hoping for updates. I think if enough crash reports from Sony went to Ubisoft, I would think that they would push out an update to probably fix some problems in the game. Now, don't get me wrong. The game itself, I don't think has any issues. I didn't run into any glitches. I didn't run into any missed dialogue or the audio and visual. Didn't have any mismatches, things of that nature. So I was cool with that. The only problem I had with Valhalla was literally and figuratively was the crash. I mean, I could be sitting there in the middle of the game and it crashes, or it gets to a certain point and it crashes. And that was the thing that just I'm not gonna say it dulled the experience, because again, for Valhalla, it is an interesting story. It is really more Viking and raiding than the normal Assassin's Creed missions that we're used to. But I like that. I did like the fact that it wasn't always hunting down the Ancient Order. It really wasn't. And that's why I said, and a lot of people did get turned off by that, because again, you are building yourself in the traditional Viking way. So a lot of people were turned off by that. Me, I loved it, because I could go around screaming to the top of my head, I got 2 axes and no problems. Because I mean, you, like I said, in traditional Assassin's Creed fashion, you can sneak and be silent, or you can kick in the door and guns blazing. Your choice. I sometimes always chose the latter. So again, guys, like I said, with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I definitely loved it. Aside from the crashes, that was the only gripe I had about it. Now, I know when I completed it, that they did push out an update for it. So Assassin's Creed Valhalla does have an update. Not sure if that update does fix the crashes. I will go back to a second playthrough of Assassin's Creed Valhalla to see if the update does address the crashes. But again, I love Valhalla. I mean, it does have 3 separate endings, and there is a hidden ending. So just to give you guys some spoiler alerts there. But speaking of spoiler alerts, it was interesting now that it seems, and I guess this is where I'm slightly concerned a little bit about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, is because getting away from the fact that you're playing historical figures, the main story of the Hidden Order or the Assassins versus the Templars seems to be taking more of a back seat. I mean, them fighting over, at one point was fighting over pieces of Eden. Now they're actually going over Izu technologies like Hermes' staff and other trinkets out there. I feel like the more, and I know for a lot of people who are wanting Assassin's Creed, you're wanting feudal Japan. Let's be honest, it's not going to happen anytime soon. I don't know what's wrong with Ubisoft. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Valhalla and the story it told surrounding Eivor. And again, I love the fact that, the mythology of Odin put into it, and probably as DLCs will come out, we'll see more along the lines of Norse mythology, including Ragnarok. But again, the main story between the Assassins and the Templars just seems to be getting lost. And I'm concerned for that, because as you're telling a story between these two orders fighting literally for control of society behind the scenes, it just seems to be taking more and more of a back door to it. And that's what I'm kind of concerned about, because in a good storytelling fashion like Assassin's Creed, it's all got to blend together. But again, just to give my review of it, if you haven't played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, It is definitely fun. It is worth playing. And like I said, maybe the patch. I said I haven't had a chance to test the patch out to make sure it's absorbed the crashes, but maybe it does. But speaking of things that have crashed, and it hurts my heart to say this. It hurts my heart to say this. Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, we were so happy about that game, weren't we, guys? We were happy. We were ecstatic. We figured it was CD Projekt Red. It was the same group that gave us The Witcher, and The Witcher 3 is still one of the best open world games out there next to Assassin's Creed. I love the Witcher series, and you would think with this new IP that CD Projekt Red had, that okay, you guys push back saying the game still need to be polished. Okay, cool. I was telling everybody else, if we could wait 10 years for Final Fantasy VII Remake to come out, even though it's only part 1, but even though when it came out, it had no problems. I mean, I had no problems with Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, and I still play it again to this day. Again, I found no issues with it. So again, when I hear CD Projekt Red saying, hey guys, we need to push this back, we need to make sure this is ready because we want to give you a polished game. Okay, cool. December comes around, we're excited, we're ready, we're dang near at this point of like near exuberation. And I was the ones, I couldn't wait to play it. I thought the customization was a little weird. I'm sorry, you get to customize your lower regions, if you will. But again, hey, I guess they're trying to give you full customization of everything. The problem with Cyberpunk 2077 is, I hate to say it, I believe what they pushed out was a glitchy, patchy, crashing game. And it happened to me. And I was trying to enjoy Cyberpunk. I did notice that sometimes the overmapping of your relay of the overlook of your HUD would sometimes go white. I would also notice when you're driving in the street, it's like the graphics rendering it reminded me of trying to play Crysis on a machine that wasn't built for it. The graphics card I don't know what to do. It's pretty much what it was. And even though Cyberpunk 2077 story, from what I've played so far, has been inviting and great, it does take away from the fact that all these problems that are plaguing it does, like I said before, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla crashing, may take away from the actual, fun that you could have of playing this game. Now, I know a lot of people, including Sony and Microsoft, have pulled the games from their stores for purchasing, and of course, you can obviously do a short Google search and see that if you want your refund for the game, that you can go ahead and do so. I'm on the other side of it. I'm going to keep my copy of Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm going to wait for updates because I believe that, if they recognize the problem, they're trying to fix it, they deserve a fair shot in fixing it. But my review so far of Cyberpunk 2077 is, when it's working, it's great. The story is gritty, the paths you can take. It reminds me of more of an updated Mass Effect, if you will. Just really, really gritty and dark, and I love the storytelling they're doing. I just hope that CD Projekt Red fixes the problems, because I still want to go back and finish Cyberpunk 2077. I just realized that with the current glitches and problems and crashes, it just might be a little difficult to deal with. That's all I'm saying. But speaking of things that are, or maybe slightly difficult to deal with, this is a spoiler alert. We are entering the spoiler room on this one, guys, with The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 8 ending. And I'm going to be honest, if you have not seen this Episode 8 of Season 2, this is spoilers. If you have not seen it, now would be the time to click off me for about the next 3 to 5 minutes, or just stop watching me altogether, because we are going to talk about it, even show a little bit of the clip, which made everybody's jaws drop. So, okay, fair warning, this is spoilers. We are about to show a little bit of Episode 8. Cool. All right, let's roll it.
We're safe. Jedi?
Are you a Jedi?
I am. Come, little one. He is strong with the Force. Talent without training is nothing. I will give my life to protect the child, but he will not be safe until he masters his ability. May the Force be with you.
Okay, if you were like me and you saw the episode 8 season ending of Mandalorian 2, and that was kind of like the fast forward version, holy crap. Like I said, this is spoilers. You've been warned. It is so. Of course, the Jedi that Grogu seemed to contact back on episode 6 seemed to actually be. I'm sorry, episode 7, I should say. So when Grogu and Grogu the Mandalorian did go to the planet to where Grogu could reach out and connect the Jedi's on episode 7, seemed to be that the one he connected to was Luke Skywalker himself. I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. Keep in mind, the Mandalorian's timeline puts it right after Return of the Jedi. So even in Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker is alive and well, and robot hand with the green lightsaber. So it does make sense that it still fits in this timeline. It also makes sense that he would seek out one of the race of Yoda as far as teaching him and training him, considering the fact of in Return of the Jedi was, well, let's be honest, we saw where Luke had finished his training with Yoda and decided to go off to Tatooine, of course, to save Han Solo being carbonite by one Boba Fett. And we've now come full circle. So again, guys, like I said before, it's the ending of Mandalorian Season 2 does open up a lot. Now, what does that mean for the franchise of The Mandalorian? I think that at this point, like I said, the planet itself that the Rebels were with may go back when so the Mandalorian may actually go back with the others to actually go retake their home planet Mando. Of course, with the lightsaber in hand that he did win, and of course try to give it to the young princess. Of course, it can only be won in combat, which again sets up a strange dynamic for Season 3 of The Mandalorian, as far as them going back to retake their planet, and because he has the dark saber, means that he can lay claim to the throne unless Princess decides to beat him in open combat. I think it'll be interesting. I mean, yes, it's gonna be a little weird. Not to see Grogu, or as we used to call him for 15 episodes, Baby Yoda. It is going to be weird not to see him, but I still think The Mandalorian still has a strong storytelling, and I think if Season 3 does, as we guess, will focus on the planet Mando and the retaking of it, in itself, I think is another great area for storytelling in that area. But we can also say the Mandalorian has done his job. Now, what was also surprising at the end of this episode was the fact that they revealed a ending credit scene where Boba Fett and his right-hand man, or I should say right-hand woman, does go back to Tatooine and kill Jabba the Hutt's former associate who had taken over. And of course, now they actually are now announcing another spinoff called The Book of Boba Fett, which I think will actually take, and like I said, this is all spitballing right now, that I think where they're going to start with Boba Fett's story is basically how he escaped the Sarlacc pit. If anybody doesn't remember from Return of the Jedi, he did kind of take a tumble and fall into the Sarlacc pit. But they never did say how, it was always in books and canon that he survived, which now that we have a Book of Boba Fett, and this is after Return of the Jedi, maybe this Book of Boba Fett, which will be another Star Wars spinoff, will probably hopefully explain that, but I'm looking forward to it as well. But again, with The Mandalorian, guys, with season 1 and season 2, a surprise guest that have came on for the new bads, for both the big bads of both seasons. I loved it. I have no issues with it. It seems that, like I said, Jon Favreau, who actually wrote The Mandalorian seasons 1 and season 2, the man can write a story, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to be honest, for all those that don't remember Jon Favreau, keep in mind he did write Iron Man 1, co-wrote Iron Man 2, and also co-wrote Iron Man 3. And also had some input along some of the Avengers movies. So, again, like I said, great storytelling from a really masterful writer and director. And like I said, Mandalorian Season 2 was great. I cannot wait for Season 3, which we probably won't hear anything about it until sometime next year. Completely understandable. But since we're staying with 2020, like I said, this being our last podcast for 2020, and we will come back after New Year's. Let's talk about the most recent movie that is slated to come out on Christmas Day. You know it, you love it. It is going to be interesting either way you cut the cake. And I am talking about Wonder Woman 84, or WW84 as you call it. And for all those that don't remember, there has been some news with Warner Brothers that have come out, and again, I think it was announced before we played this trailer for Wonder Woman 84. For all those that don't know, Warner Brothers has decided to go ahead and release their movies simultaneously in movie theaters and on HBO Max streaming services. Now, if you already have HBO Go as a streaming service, or if any of your carriers do carry HBO, then you also will be able to access HBO Max. You'll just have to create an account and download the app for it. Yes, I know all streaming services have their own apps now. But with that being said, let's take one good last look at the trailer before we actually be able to see the movie 5 days from now, Wonder Woman 1984. Or I should say Wonder Woman 84.
My life hasn't been what you probably think it has. We all have our struggles.
Your time will come, Diana. And everything will be different.
You look like you saw a ghost.
Citizens of the world,
I'm here to change your life.
Anything you want. Anything you dream of, you can have it.
I don't want to be like anyone. I want to be an apex predator.
Will come when you have to rise.
The way I fly, they will never find us.
I forgot to tell you.
What?
Radar.
Will they shoot at us? I've never been one for rules. The answer is always more. The world needs you. You know what you need to do.
Nothing good is born from lies. And greatness is not what you think.
And you saw it, folks. Like I said before, all Warner Brothers movies will be simultaneously released in movie theaters as well as on HBO Max. Of course, it comes out this Friday, Christmas, December 25th. I love the first Wonder Woman movie. I loved Gal Gadot. I think she is Wonder Woman as far as the perfect casting goes. And of course, with Maxwell Lord and Kristen Wiig playing as Cheetah. I'm going to honestly see how that's going to go because it kind of, like I said before, Patty Jenkins directing this one. I'm just looking forward to it either way because like I said with Aquaman, I also say that Aquaman and Shazam and Wonder Woman were probably the only bright spots as far as movies go, as far as live action movies go out of DC. Not to count the animated series from DC because they've always had a stellar record. But if you think about Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Justice League, those movies, Man of Steel, and Man of Steel was borderline decent. Let's just call it what it is. I think Henry Cavill is the perfect casting for Superman. I just think that Alex Snyder is not the best person to direct it, or not really to direct any superhero movie out there. So you can already tell my take on the Snyder Cut for Justice League, which again is supposed to be released sometime next year on HBO Max. I have said it best about Snyder fanboys. There is not enough in this world that you can sit there and tell me that you're going to sit there and give this man a direct Snyder cut, which in mind, let's point this out. Warner Brothers lost faith in Snyder with Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. And at the same time, they really gave Zack Snyder the keys to the kingdom with his hand in every pie of all the DC movies they wanted to come out with. But let's be honest, they lost faith in him during Batman. They lost faith in him after Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. They lost faith in him when he was in the middle of Justice League. And now you're giving him the chance to come back and do what exactly? Give his cut of what Justice League should have been? Let's just say I have very little faith in that. But I do have faith in Wonder Woman 84. Like I said before, will be released this Friday. I'm going to be honest, I'm watching on HBO Max. With COVID going out there, I just simply do not want to risk moving in a movie theater. I know I miss the movie theaters. I know I miss the outside as far as being social things of that nature. But COVID has taught us to pretty much stay indoors. And as long as there's streaming services, my ass is staying indoors. So, with also that being said, guys, like I said before about that we do have some other news in the anime world, mostly in video games. I would be remiss to sit there and say it's been a while since I played Dragon Ball FighterZ. They have been coming out with new characters as fighters, and this one is a little bit on the older side if you remember GT.
今度は俺が行け。本気を出させてもらいますよ。今度は念入りに消し飛ばしてやる。力を見せて。ベジータ、お前も俺の奴隷となるのだ。手に入れたぞ。この宇宙で最強の肉体を生巻きにしてやるからな。うわ見てみろ。手だけだ。いけ。おめえの相手は俺だ。さっさとしろ。来い。動きを吹き飛ばしてやる。終わりにしてやる。特産のやつをぶち込んでやる。くらえ。死ね死ね死ね。どうした悟空。最強のサイヤ人の力はそれまでか。
Okay, so that was Super Baby 2. Now, like I said before, some people didn't like Dragon Ball GT. I thought it was okay. Oh, and they did actually have a little bit more. Also, I'm sorry, I cut the trailer a little bit too short because there is one more character they did show on Fighters as well.
今度の俺はちょっと強えぞ。
Okay, there we go. I had to say that last part because, like I said, which fighters, like I said, it's been a while since I played it. Of course, I'm actually trying to get back into it. Of course, Kefla, Goku as Ultra Instinct, Master Roshi, Super Baby 2, and as you notice, Gogeta from Super Saiyan 4, again, was from the GT series. Now, like I said before, when I played Dragon Ball FighterZ, it was great. I loved it. As more games came along that I've been wanting to play, this did kind of fall by the wayside. But again, if you haven't played Dragon Ball FighterZ, you will not be disappointed. Unfortunately, it does go by seasons passes as well, so you will have to purchase those passes in order to get those fighters. So, I mean, like I said before, it's the way of the world when it comes to purchases, especially with fighting games. There's no change in that, unfortunately. But I do have a little bit more news before we wrap this up. So I do want to talk about some anime news. I did want to talk about Black Clover will begin their next arc into the Spade Kingdom. Now, for all those that have never seen Black Clover on anime, and never seen Black Clover anime, you're honestly missing out. It is still up there with My Hero Academia, The God of High School, The Promise to Neverland. There are all great animes, including Attack on Titan, which also started its 4th and final season. But Black Clover is one of those ones that did sneak up that if you didn't know about it, you really should give it a chance. It's actually available on Hulu and Crunchyroll and Funimation right now. And they're actually beginning their Spade Kingdom arc, in which Asta and his group is now about to face the person that is actually quote-unquote possessed by the devil in the Spade Kingdom, but it actually will start, the manga itself will start next year, which means that sometime down the road within February or March, we actually will be getting the anime versions of the Spade Kingdom arc to begin. Currently, right now with Black Kingdom, they are in the process of actually wrapping up their season as Asta and others, magical knights, are training to basically combat the devil. But to give you some synopsis about Black Clover, like I said before, it is a great anime if you haven't seen it. But definitely, like I said, give it 3 episodes. I always say this about anime. Whatever anime you watch, give it 3 episodes. And if you like it, cool. And if you don't, hey, it's like Chess Pod. Not everybody likes Chess Pod. It's even the one I'm looking at on Hulu right now called Special Unit 7, which actually deals in magical entities and things of that nature. It's kind of like Men in Black in Japan. But again, I found myself digging it, and hopefully will continue. And like I said, not really sure because it's kind of an older anime. But like I said, there's plenty of animes out there for everybody to love and watch. And I just personally think Black Clover is one of them. And also another one in which we finally have some new information about is the next season of My Hero Academia in this trailer.
ついにこの時が来た。さあ、A組、今日こそ白黒つけようか。この場のみんなが越えるべき壁です。授業だろうが関係ねえんだよ。やるぞ A組。夢を形にするために、ヒーローになるために。僕らが憧れるヒーローに。
And as you can see with that date there at the end of the trailer for the next season of My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero, it will start March 27th of next year in the next arc. For all those that are waiting, that are reading the manga, it is in that All for One arc, and I don't really want to go into that right now because, like I said, a lot of people are still reading it, so we're definitely not going to spoil the manga. Let's just say that the manga is definitely interesting in where they're at right now. But for all those that are looking forward to the anime, it will be released out again March 27th of next year. So the last little bit of news I have, guys, like I said, speaking of things to look forward to next year, Coming to America. Now, for all those that remember Coming to America, if you're not my age, it was a beautiful movie, written by Eddie Murphy, and had a cast of very famous actors and actresses. And of course, we had those memorable lines that, of course, if you, like I said, if you're not my age, or you just happen to stumble upon your mom or dad's VHS or DVD collections, it is one of those ones like Harlem Nights that are just unforgettable because they have their own quotes. But anyway, but like I said, Eddie Murphy did actually earlier this year did say that he was writing a sequel for Coming to America, and everybody speculated for months on end how it would go. We did know that sometime between November and December that Amazon Prime had scored the rights to Coming to America. So we do know that sometime next year Amazon Prime Video will show Coming to America on their platform. But in the meantime, we do actually have some camera scenes. What you can see is, of course, Eddie Murphy resuming his role, possibly as a prince or king Akeem right now. And of course, you do see King Jeffrey Johns, played by no other than I call him Mufasa. James Earl Jones is probably one of the most iconic actors out there because of his voice. But I'm sorry, every time he talks, I just hear Mufasa, because his role in The Lion King is iconic, and it's just hard to top that. And of course, as we keep scrolling through, you do see, of course, the woman who did play Lisa is actually back and still as queen, and the infamous barbershop scene in which Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall did play various characters in the barbershop. For all those that don't remember, the Cassius Clay argument, or Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, you always talk about Marciano. Oh, here you go. You got one bad white boy, that's all you got. I mean, you can say what you want. It's almost memorable, and now I actually want to go back and watch Coming to America now. But those are actually scenes from it, and like I said, Amazon Prime did score the rights to this, and they will be showing it on Amazon Prime Video March 5th of 2021. So hey, my birth month is going to be jamming. I am not complaining. But that's pretty much what we're rolling into. Like I said, guys, I do apologize that we were late in broadcasting this. I did watch WWE's TLC. Not to spoil it, it was okay. I mean, I was impressed with some matches and how they ended and things of that nature. But especially the ending of the Fiend, the ending of the Firefly Inferno match between Randy Orton and the Fiend. I was not expecting that ending. I think at this point WWE may go back to the old TV 14 rating, because apparently PG isn't cutting in the ratings no more when dealing with AEW and Ring of Honor and New Japan and other wrestling organizations out there. I think that WWE may go back to the old Attitude Era, what actually made it WWE famous in the first place. But like I said, not going to spoil TLC. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a solid 6 as far as the show goes. That's just me. So, with that being said, guys, that's really all the information that I have for this podcast, and I do thank everybody for watching. Before I do get out of here, I do have to do some shameless plugging, being this is going to be my last podcast of 2020. What I mean by that is a brother is going to take off some time. Oh, excuse me. That hiccup came out of nowhere. A brother is going to take off some time to spend with his family and friends. And like I said, after New Year's, we will be back with all of my podcasts. So, like I said, I might actually put the links out there next week for everybody to go back. And if you haven't seen any of my podcasts all throughout the year that I've done, now would be a perfect time to do that. But before I do that, I do want to talk about a person who is watching this podcast right now, and I'm going to go ahead and put him out there because he will also be returning in his podcast as well. I'm talking about my buddy Big BZA Dot. Big BZA Dot, or Vaughn, as I like to call him, Big BZA Dot on Facebook. He does have a lot of videos. You just have to friend him. And I mean, you can talk to him. He's friendly-ish. But once you are his friend, you'll be able to go to his videos and be able to see his podcast. I'll start with the first one called the VST Intercast. Now, what is the VST? The VST is pretty much the news podcast. Vaughn calls himself a big-ass kid. I'm also a big-ass kid. I mean, we are adults. We have responsibilities. We do pay bills, but we still love video games and music and things out there that we still love as kids, still love as grown-ass men. But he actually covers video games. He covers new music. He covers movies. I call him the king of weird trailers because he is undisputed in the trailers that he has found, from the very interesting to the very obscene. And I do mean they are out there. But it's an interactive show, because as you see from the comments there, me and him do talk along with others about the things that he finds. So it's a very interactive show, so you definitely give that a look. The other show that he has is called RAF. And I say RAF because, again, I'm trying to watch my language here today, as this is pretty much a family show. But it is but to see me, it's just random as a frack. Yeah, random as frack. In which he does a bunch of videos with a certain theme. In this case, the video of this theme was Frack Donald Trump, in which he showed videos basically going on with that. Like Trump supporters sitting outside the election office praying for them to count the votes. Yes, he actually did that. He also shows another video of Kenneth Copeland laughing, and I'm sorry, this is creepy. I don't care what y'all say, that is a creepy laugh. But anyway, it's always entertaining because he always finds the weird ones and just out there. But it's an interactive show and definitely is entertaining. It's a great way to reset your weeks, as he usually does that every Tuesday. He also has another show called the Rhythmness Music Podcast. Now, what is Rhythmness? Well, Vaughn is a musical connoisseur, like myself. But he also likes to have groups of people, like myself and others there, and basically listen to new music that he finds, or music that he asks us to find that he thinks we might like, and we all discuss it. And differences in musical scales always lead to great conversations, and that's what Rhythmness Music Podcast is all about. It's basically bringing new music to those that may have never heard it unless someone actually brings it to you, and that's what it's all about. His other show, I call his pop-up show, is called Funkin' Around. Now, what is Funkin' Around? Vaughn likes to make beats, such as this. And Vaughn is very talented in making beats. So talented, in fact, that he knows when the beat is hot, he got popcorn, y'all. He got popcorn out when he's making beats. That's how you know the beat is fire. When you guys sit there and eat some popcorn to it, man, that's a cold beat. And have some popcorn. Never mind the mess, because the mess is the sign of a genius, and I know my desk is kind of like that as well. But like I said, Vaughn is a very talented brother when it comes to beat making, and at the same time, wants to show the process from beginning to end, how he got there, and that's what Funkin' Around is about. And always, he is very sporadic about that. He might do a beat a day, sometimes he might do 5 beats in a day, depending on how the man feels. But he will always post that. Like I said, you'll be able to like, share, subscribe, and go from there. Now, all of his shows can be found on his Facebook page at BigBZA or BigBZA on all social media, so definitely like, share, subscribe, let the brother know, show him some love, if you will. But beyond that, yours truly, I do a few podcasts of my own. Of course, like I said before, this is the last podcast for 2020. But after New Year's, we will go back to regular times. So every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. is the Burned Out Podcast, in which I tell stories from the IT background. And these stories are meant to be funny. I cannot stress this enough. The stories are meant to be funny. Because anybody that's worked in customer service or retail knows that we all have our horror stories. I decided to use that as my type of therapy. So it's intended to make you laugh. So if you laugh, that's great. If not, lighten up, because I'm probably talking about you. And of course, every Saturday between 10 a.m. to noon is my U.S. and political podcast called How the Frack We Got Here, in which we go over everything in the world that Donald Trump has burned down and everything that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden will spend the first term of their presidency trying to fix. But we always give you all the facts. We're not out here to persuade you. We're not out here to change your mind. We are simply out here to inform you and allow you to make up your own mind and go from there. Of course, also that same time, also on Saturday between 8 and 10 p.m. is the Off Limits Podcast. It is the podcast that goes there because we talk about about anything and everything, and I do mean anything and everything. Just this past Saturday, on the 19th, me and my girlfriend did actually talk about why is misinformation accepted so easily, and it was a great podcast. So hopefully, if you didn't get to see it, definitely go back to our Off Limits page on Facebook and definitely give it a look-see. And of course, every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. as you're seeing right now is Get Bit. All of my shows can be found on my Facebook page at William Buchanan, or their own Facebook page and YouTube pages, especially the link that you're seeing down at the bottom. If you copy and paste that into your browser, will take you to the Git Bit YouTube page, so you'll be able to see every podcast there. But if you want to see the podcast pages for all my shows, whether on Facebook or YouTube, just simply looking them up by their names: The Burned Out Podcast, How the Frack We Got Here, The Off Limits Podcast, and Git Bit, that is GITBIT, to see every podcast we've done so far. Special shout out to my girlfriend Kelly, because she actually did the intro for Git Bit. Yes, Git Bit has an intro now. We're trying to move up in the world. I love it and hope you guys love it too, and I just want to give her a special shout out because she definitely did work on this, and I do see that she has a talent for graphic arts in her future. So she gonna secure that bag. With that being said, guys, like I said before, the last thing I'll say, like I said, even though this is our last show for 2020, COVID-19 is still real, guys. We are still 300,000 plus cases of deaths out there, over nearly 0% capacity, over 100% capacity in ICU beds in various hospitals. Guys, please wear a mask. At this point, we need to. We know the vaccinations are coming. Please don't be afraid to get vaccinated, but please also review the facts. Also, at the same time, I know this is crunch time to shopping. I know it is the crunch time to finding a gift for somebody. But let's be honest, guys. Is it really worth going out there, being in crowds with zero social distancing and no mask just to get a present for a loved one? It really is not. Trust me, you will get the same deals post New Year's. So try to avoid large crowds if you can. Please also wear a mask. If you're sick, or if you think you're getting sick, please stay at home. If you are sick and you're needing immediate medical attention, please do so. But let's try to do those things to actually curb the case numbers down, because right now it is getting to be very, very dangerous. Also, if you see a nurse, a doctor, nurse aide, doctor's aide, environmental people that work in hospitals, just say thank you. They don't actually get enough for what they do. They are exhausted. They are emotionally and physically drained. It's just a simple fact of just letting them know that we appreciate their service and their diligence goes a long way. At the same time, I know, guys, I'm going to keep on saying this, but please try to be nice and be kind to essential workers. I am talking about those that work in gas stations or grocery stores, those that are truck drivers, those that work in retail and customer service, especially in the food industry, and those that actually work in logistics, like the United States Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, DHL, those that work in warehouses like Amazon. Because right now, whether you're in logistics or you're in Amazon, it is going to be a busy time. And I know right now that a lot of people are just really looking forward to spending time with their loved ones. So like I said, if we all can try to be nice and we all try to be kind, we'll get through this. And like I said, I just want to thank you guys. Last thing I'll say before I get out of here, I just want to thank you guys for 2020, for watching me, for liking the post, for sharing, for subscribing on YouTube and subscribing to the Facebook pages that I've done for these podcasts. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, for all those that were rocking with me, thank you so much for letting me know what you liked. Thank you for letting me know what you didn't like. I'm completely okay with that. Because like I said, I'm just trying to, me and Vaughn are trying to actually grow this into a better format to where everybody can enjoy this. But I do thank everybody that was rocking with us for 2020. And we will see you guys in 2021. Because like I said, brother is taking a 2-week break, but after the first, we will be back. Well, I should say, Vaughn will let you. Also, check out Vaughn on his page at BigBZA to see when all his podcasts will be returning. But as far as mine goes, we will resume normal broadcasting back after the first of New Year's in 2021. And we pray 2021 will be better. Aside from that, guys, I do thank you all for watching. Thank you for commenting. If you are not watching, if you're watching this in the playback, please comment as if it's live. I still want to know you guys' opinion. Aside from that, again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for telling your friends about me. Thank you for being gamers and being blurs and nerds, because honestly, that's what's going to get us through 2020 and hopefully get us to a better 2021. Aside from that, guys, have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus for the rest of us. Peace.